the sky. Fun with Granny. Oh, let's go. Everything preschool, here we grow. A, B, C's and 1, 2, 3's. Learning's easy as the breeze. We're tying shoes, we're learning to share. Shapes and colors, they're everywhere. Hop like a bunny, roar like a bear. Cuddles, purrs with a little flair. Clap your hands, stomp your feet. Every day's a brand new treat. Granny's laugh, the sweetest sound, with cuddles spinning all around. Fun with Granny, oh let's go. Everything preschool, here we grow. A, B, C's and 1, 2, 3's. Learning's easy as the breeze.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Fun with Granny Everything Preschool. I'm having a great Monday. How about you? I hope it's a good Monday. One of the fun things that my granddaughter and I did was to have the calendar on the wall, and I would give her stickers to put on each day, as we did it. And she'd say, "What day is today?" And I'd tell her the date and the day. And that way she learned the days of the week. She learned her numbers. So it was really a fun activity. Today, I want to talk about letters and teaching them to read. Now, it's more than just having them recognize letters. They need to know the letter sounds. They need to know how letters are combined to make complex sounds, and also how we put letters together to make words, and then the words become not only our speech, but also what we read in books. So, the first and easiest way to teach your child or any child the letters of the alphabet are by teaching them the letters in their individual name. So my granddaughter's name is Anais Bivens. And so I would just take something and write her name on it. I would take clothespins, simple wooden clothespins you can buy at the Dollar Tree for $1.25. And I would write with a Sharpie marker the letters of her name. So capital A is the first letter. They do need to learn the difference between the uppercase and the lowercase letters. And with Anais, Anais is French. And so the I has 2 dots above it. So I definitely made the clip with the I with 2 dots. Her last name also has 2 I's in it, but they only get the single dot. So she had to learn the difference between the I she puts in her first name and the I's that she uses in everything else. Anyway, this became a fun game for her to match the clothespins to the letters of her name. Now, once she learned these letters, it was easy to go ahead and teach her the letters in her last name, because this is one of the first things they have to master going into school, is going to be able to recognize and learn their letters for their name. Hello, Body Illusion. Welcome. So, anyway, there is a proven method as far as the way that you introduce the letters, and it is broken down into about a 6-week period of time. The first week, you teach them S, A, T, I, P, and N. That's 6 letters. I know that sounds like an awfully lot, but those letters are the most common letters found in words. And in our case, A, N, I, and S were in her name. So 4 of those 6 letters were super duper easy for us because they were in her name. Now, also, when you teach them the letter, I suggest teaching them lowercase except for the capital letter to start their name. This will give them an understanding that there are two types of letters. I can't even talk this morning. Uppercase and lowercase, big A, little a. Okay. Um, Once they are starting to be able to sight recognize their letters, you want to add in the letter sound. Also, could match that up with something that is familiar to them already. Could be different food, could be different toys, could be a brother or sister's names, anything like that. So with us, A was apple, A was alligator, A was ant, anything like that. And then it was a big A because this was the capital A for the beginning of her name. And as we went on, it was very easy to come up with things that would be these different letters and letter sounds. I did a lot with magnets. My granddaughter is a very visual and hands on learner. And so she enjoyed having the magnets and being able to put them on the refrigerator. I also have a metal door that she could put them on. And we also used the cookie sheets, that the magnetic letters can stick on, so that it was portable, something that we could go and sit down to do. But when you're reading to them, and let's face it, that's the whole reason we need to teach them the letters is to learn how to read, right? That is the main important thing. My daughter teaches third grade, and one of the biggest problems they're having by that age, which is 8 or 9 years old, is that the kids don't have the foundational background to learn to read. And therefore, when they get into the other areas like math and science and social studies, reading becomes part of their learning process. They have to be able to read to gather the information and to answer the questions. And so, not being able to read is a very fundamental problem for them. So teaching them as early as you possibly can, even 2 year olds who are still mastering how to even speak can learn their letters and their sounds, the letter sounds. So I do have a comment here. Body Illusion said other learned a lot when it came to spelling a letters with the magnets on the refrigerator. Exactly. Oh, and that brought me back to my point about the magnets. Thank you, Body Illusion. I had lost my train of thought. I had magnets that were animals and characters and fruits and vegetables and just a whole bunch of different kind of magnets. But I could take a magnet with a picture on it and the letter magnet and be able to get her to associate the A with the apple or the A with the alligator. So I did that with her. So when I was looking up this information for this live stream, I came across this letter order again, and I'm going to go ahead and make the videos this 1 through 6 step process, and I will be making those in smaller videos of the individual letters for the kids to watch, but I will make the entire grouping video for the adults to watch. And you'll see on the videos, it'll say kid video, adult video, or kid video and parent video. That way you'll kind of know if this is something that you want to watch first or may want to watch with the child. And then the ones that are kid video, they can probably watch those on their own. Okay. So the second grouping is C, K, E, H, and R. And like I had said, we did go ahead and jump straight from her learning her first name to learning the letters in her last name, which were B-I-V-I-N-S. So again, B-I-V-I-N-S. A-I-V-N-S, 5 letters. So she had S was the same and I was the same as the first grouping. So really she has A-N-I-S, B, B. Oh, and N was the same too. So she really only had to learn 6 letters to be able to spell her first and last name. Okay. So that's really a good idea also. So I would take the letters of their name, and that would be my basis for my starting point. And I would then work from there. And as you need to add the letters, I would add them then in this order. This third grouping is MDGO. The fourth one is LFBQU. 5 is JZW. And the last one, the sixth grouping, is VY and X. Okay. So with us, since we had already taken in like the V, she just had to learn the Y and the X that week. Okay. Question. So it's the most common letters, and we start with, and we start there. Okay. So yes, basically, once they know the SATIPN, they can do all their at words, it words. They can do, like sip and nip. They can do tip. They can do sat. They can do tap. It's just like a lot of the small 3-letter, 2 and 3 letter words that they're going to see in the books that you're reading to them are going to be in that first grouping. So that's just the way that, the professionals, the educators have came up with. This is the way to teach it. Like I said, I would not worry about teaching them the uppercase and the lowercase at the same time. I would stick with the lowercase letters with the exception of the first letter of the first name and the first letter of the last name. That way they get the idea that there are capital letters, and they also get the idea that a capital letter comes in the beginning of a name, also in the name of a place, things like that. The beginning of the sentence. But the main thing you've got to do to teach a child to read is you've got to read to the child and with the child. Let the child hold the book. Let the child turn the page. Point to the words on the page. Let them see that you are sounding out and saying word for word, which is on the page. I know. A lot of books for kids have repetitive words. They have a lot of nonsense. And you're thinking, I don't have to tell them all of this. This is a picture of a barn. I can say, we're at the farm. I don't have to say all about that. But you do, because we want them to learn their colors, their shapes, their animals, all things around them in their world. And books are a great way to do that. But don't just read to them with books. Read to them when you're doing other things. We would read the boxes or the cans, when she would pick out what she wanted to eat. I would show her, the can of carrots or the can of green beans, and we would read the words and associate, the picture of the green beans. Not only were they beans and they were green, this is what they look like. This is what green sounds like, what the G sound is, things like that. So you can incorporate learning their letters and reading in everyday activities. The same thing when it comes to the numbers and counting. Don't think this has got to all be sitting down doing schoolwork that they're not going to be old enough to sit down and do. That's not what this is about. It's about exposing them to a world full of letters and numbers, and a world that they're going to live in, just as you live in it. So try to Open your eyes and your ears. Notice the things you see and the things you hear, and then point them out to the child. And before you know it, the child will be pointing them out to you. And it's a wonderful thing when they do that. My granddaughter now, being in pre-K, they are working on their letter sounds, which I really believe she has a great foundation for that, that we did a great job learning our letter sounds, but she will wants you to make the letter sound, and then she will correct you if you do it wrong. Like P, puh. It's not puh like puh. It's it's just a P, and things like that, that she's learning the exact and very precise on these letter sounds. And if you have a P and an A, then you have puh, because you have you know so it's really fun to be a part of that learning and to watch her grow in her learning. So that was one thing I wanted to talk about today. Definitely get you some wooden clothespins, some construction paper. You can also use, really cardboard boxes. You can use, anything kids like to play with. I saved another one of the paper towel rolls. You could even write their name on the paper towel roll and then give them stickers to put on the letters of their name. There are just so many things you can do with trash, basically, things that you're going to throw away anyway. So why not make this something fun and a toy and something for them to learn with? Makes a big difference in the way that they'll learn if they feel like they can be silly and play and enjoy the time. We don't want to make it too structured, and we don't want to make it seem like a negative work type situation. It's fun to learn, and it's fun to learn to read. That's like the most important thing, to learn to read. Now, there are a million things that a child needs to learn in their lifetime. Yes, just be creative. And you don't have to take every tip that you see, make it your own. You look at something and say, how can I incorporate this? How can I use this to make my child more creative? It's very important that they have some washable crayons and washable markers that are theirs. Put them in a box, a pencil box, a Ziploc bag, something, and give them ownership of those. I got her glue sticks and the painter's tape and scissors, and we had a little caddy that had all her supplies in it, and I kept it up on the kitchen counter, and whenever it was time, and she would call it her work, she would say, I need to do my work now. And she would want her caddy, she would want index cards, she would want construction paper. And then I used a lot of the flashcards and homemade flashcards with her. And I would put the pages on the wall with the different letter or the color or the number. And then I would give her ones to go and match up. I actually had this box that is still full. Let me move that out of the way. It's still full of cut up pieces of paper. I have, you know, just a ton of different sizes of paper. These are actually paint samples from Walmart, but they were a nice square and pretty colors. I bought a pack of like a scrapbooking paper thing, and it had all different sizes of, and these are like almost the index card size. So you can really use those to make your flashcards out of. So something like this, inexpensive, didn't cost me very much. I don't care if she tore them up. I don't care if, she glued them where they didn't go or taped them where they didn't go. It was easy enough to fix, but it was all about getting her in the habit of manipulating things. And that brings me to my next little topic, which is fine motor skills. Now, I'm not going to go into it too far. It'll probably be the topic for next week's live stream. But in order for them to be able to hold a pencil, they have to have fine motor skills in their fingers. That is not something that kids are just going to develop with time. It's something they have to use those fingers for different things. Now, my granddaughter loved to unstick stickers. So you could stick a sticker halfway onto something and leave the end of it loose. And she would get it and she would take and pull that sticker off. But you have to do that pinching motion in order to do that. So little things like that, using Play-Doh, even if they can't form it into a ball and they can't, roll it out yet, just moving their hands and using the Play-Doh will help to strengthen those fine motor skills. So that is very important too, because once they start learning their letters, they're going to want to start making the letters. And once they want to start making the letters, they have to have the fine muscle control. And that will develop over time. Don't expect their handwriting to be perfect from the beginning. It's going to look like every letter looks the same, but in their mind, they will be able to tell the difference. And eventually, with lots and lots of practice, they will be able to make their letters properly. So it's not about perfection, it's about practice. And it's about giving them time and space to, number one, be a kid. Number two, to be a kid who learns, and eventually to be a kid who reads. Okay? My alarm going off. I have another live scheduled at 2 o'clock. So I don't want to be on here too long. I don't want to make these lives so long that people will not try to watch them. Okay? Again, I am trying to build up enough live stream videos to have a playlist. And then I will be asking people to run those playlists for me to help out the channel. But until then, I'm just making the content and putting it out there into the universe, into YouTube land, and hopefully one day someone who needs this information will see my videos and will say, I get it. Yes, that's what I'm going to do. And if it helps one child learn something, it will be well worth the time and effort that I'm putting into it. I did not even think about the fact when my granddaughter was born and I agreed to be her daycare. I did not even think about the fact that not only would I teach her how to walk and talk and feed herself and use the potty, I was going to have to teach her preschool also. So it wasn't something I started out knowing I was going to do. It was something that I just realized along the way. And so I started with her pretty young and I made learning fun. And so now she's 4. She is in her first real school situation at the elementary school, doing pre-K. She is making friends and she is learning and she is like a little sponge right now. She is taking it all in and it is a glorious thing to watch. And I am so grateful that I am a part of it with her. And I just love her and my daughter so much. If y'all don't know that about me, you will learn that about me. My heart was full with love for my daughter. And then that little grandbaby came along and I grew a whole nother heart over here just for that grandbaby. So, yes. So we both learned from this experience. We really did. We learned a lot. And I learned that there are a lot of people in my situation, grandparents, caregivers, stay at home moms and dads, that they want to help their kids get ready for school and be able to support their learning process, but they don't know how. It's been so long since they were in school. They don't even remember, how they learned things. They just know they did over time. They learned them. And learning has changed along with technology. The more technology we have, the more access we have to things. So I don't want you to have to be out there searching, um, looking for things. I want to bring you ideas that worked for me. They may not work for you, and not every child is the same. Not every child learns the same. And that's a very good point that you need to realize. Not every child will be the same. You will have some children that take to learning just like that and love it. My granddaughter would hit the door. Let's go. Time to do my work. And I do work here on the computer at my desk. And whenever I would be sitting here, she would say, "Oh, you're doing your work?" Yes, I'm doing my work. And then she wanted to have work to do too. And mail. Oh my goodness, that child loves mail. So I save all of the little inserts that come in mail, all of the envelopes in the junk mail. And we would take those and she would color on them and put them together in the envelopes. And she would go around and we would, walk to the mailbox and I would show her how you put it in the mailbox, or we'd go to the post office. I would show her my mail and things like that. But it just, everything you do can become a learning experience for them. And that's life in general. We should be learning something every day. So, with that being said, thank you so much for joining me today. I am going to go ahead and wrap up this live stream. Please help the kids to try and learn something every day and let them watch Granny and Cuddles. And I'm starting to read books on here as well. I think I've already done 4 books. I think 2 of them, or one of them, is out and the other 3 are on their way coming out. So if you aren't a reader yourself, or you don't want to read but you want them to have the experience, let them watch the videos of me reading the books. Okay, so thank you so much. Thank you, Body Illusion, my friend, my support. I love you. And I will see you all next Monday at 1 o'clock. I'm going to go ahead and drop down and play the song on the way out. And I will see you all in the next video. Bye now.
Granny waves, it's time to play. Cuddles, pounces, hooray, hooray. School is near, but don't you fear. Granny and Cuddles are always here.